So as I'm watching this movie, I literally had to pause it in the middle of it to look up the writer. And once I found out that this was the writer, I was just like, oh, so it makes so much sense now. Just wanted to say happy Halloween, guys, and a little BTS. Usually, ever since I first started my YouTube channel, I thought an interesting thing to do is every time I talk about a certain topic or movie, I try to find a corresponding shirt to go with what I'm talking about. And for the most part, I've been successful. Obviously, I didn't have a shirt to go with everything. And so, funny enough, this was another case. And while watching this movie, I was just like, dang, I don't know what shirt to wear. But then it hit me. I'm like, the title of this movie is called Spell. Doctor Strange, master of the mystic arts, he casts spells. So I was like, hey, that works. Yes, I know, I'm a loser. Anyway, so Spell is a movie that's out currently on demand. You could probably find it on Amazon, but you do have to pay for it. I believe you can rent it for $9.99. I had to emphasize that. And actually, before I get into the movie, I feel like I should start saying this at the beginning of my videos from now on. But please, if you're watching this channel, thank you for watching. But please make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It'll really help out the channel in terms of the YouTube algorithm and getting my channel and my name out there so more people could check out my page. But yeah, so Spell is a movie directed by Mark Tonderai. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying that right, but maybe I am. He's mostly done, I looked at his IMDb profile, he's mostly directed episodes of television, most notably among them a couple episodes of the Netflix show Lock and Key, which I need to finish that. I never did finish that. And this movie, like I mentioned in my intro, this movie is written by a man named Kurt Wimmer, who's written things like Total Recall. He also wrote Equilibrium, which I actually like Equilibrium. And this movie starring Omari Hardwick and Loretta Devine. And it tells the story of a man crash lands in rural Appalachia and awakens in the attic of a traditional hoodoo practitioner. He desperately tries to break free from her dark magic and save his family from a sinister ritual before the rise of the blood moon. And I'm laughing because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like most people would actually kind of enjoy this movie overall. Like, it wasn't like it was a perfect horror movie or that good of a movie. It was a typical B horror movie. And there were some enjoyable things about it. But me personally, I feel like the only reason I didn't like this movie, and I would say this movie's trash. And no, it's not trash. Like, to say the movie is trash for me, I would give it a flop. I don't give this movie a flop, but the reason I roll my eyes at this movie and why I say, oh, it makes complete sense why this movie was written by this white man, I'm very tired of Hollywood making this trope of taking black spirituality and black religion, more specifically African-American spirituality and religion, because this movie does deal with hoodoo, and basically always making it evil, always making it sinister, always making it the thing that you have to fight against. And in this movie, being that she is a hoodoo practitioner, she does practice root work. She's a conjure woman. She even says that in this movie. And conjure is mostly used to heal. Conjure is mostly used to protect. And yes, in very adverse cases, you can use conjure to hex. But even with the hexing, it's usually a form of protection. But more times than not, Hollywood always takes the hexing of conjure or voodoo or anything like that, and that's all they portray. And that's essentially what this movie did. And then not only just that, but there's this dynamic. Okay, so let me backtrack. So you have Omari Hardwick, who's playing he's a very rich lawyer named Marcus T. Woods. They even make a mention in the very beginning of the movie that he has a door in his house that costs $1,500. Why you would need $1,500 for a door, I don't know. But that's their way of just basically emphasizing that this family has a lot of money. And in the beginning, and kind of throughout this movie, there's like a conversation that it seems like this movie is trying to have between the have and the have-nots, specifically within the black community. And in the beginning of the movie, I'm not going to get into like full spoilers for this movie, and this doesn't really give away much of the plot, but in the beginning of this movie, there's a conversation with Marcus being a lawyer where he's prosecuting this lawsuit against poor black people. And throughout the conversation that he has with his boss, he's basically telling his boss, like, look, just because these are quote-unquote my people, just because these people share the same skin color as me, I still have a job to do, and I like the money that you pay me more than some sense of community with these people that I don't even know. And that theme comes up a couple of times in this movie. Like, there's another moment, like I mentioned in the synopsis, Marcus travels down to the Appalachia, which is the countryside of America, and Marcus's son, who basically grew up in the city, his father was super rich, so he was able to get pretty much everything that he's wanted throughout his entire life. He runs into a black kid from the countryside who doesn't have as much as he did. He ends up calling this black kid a country ass N, and his mother basically chastised him, not for using the N word, but basically calling him a country ass and saying to her son, like, you don't use that word country ass because once upon a time all black people came from the country and all black people haven't been as lucky as we are, so don't use that. You don't disparage or talk down upon against other black people. And the reason I bring that up is because despite that topic and theme coming up throughout the movie several times, it ultimately has no role and plays no role within the storyline going forward. It seems like this movie is trying to break stereotypes in that sense by saying that, but then at the same time it's right full of and leans into stereotypes throughout the movie, like again going into hoodoo and African American spirituality and religion being played as sinister. Pretty much all of the characters that participate and are practitioners in hoodoo, they seem to be ill-educated, they seem to be ill-informed, they're not as well off as, say, the Marcus T. Williams and his family. And in this movie, Marcus T. Williams and his family are played as the good guys because they seem to have education, they seem to have gotten beyond the backwards world of spirituality and hoodoo and this religion that you shouldn't believe in and have made it. But because these people are still clinging on to this religion, that's why they still live in this backwoods rural area and aren't able to move on and don't even have a telephone. And it's like, I'm tired of that narrative. But then beyond that, there was just like certain stuff with the script that was just weak. Like, the reason that Marcus takes his family to the Appalachia is because he gets a phone call that his father has died, and he gets a phone call from another lawyer. So throughout this movie, they don't really go into like his family life. Like, the fact that a lawyer had to call him because he was listed as the next of kin. Where's his mother? They don't talk about that. And then throughout the movie, they keep showing flashback to his father, and then they talk about how he hasn't spoken to his father since he was a boy, signaling that his father was perhaps abusive to him. But again, it's something that they don't go into. And then also considering the flashbacks that you see of his father, the fact that you don't really get any real backstory regarding his father to give you more into the story beats, it's like it leaves you feeling hollow and not really caring that much for this character because you don't know anything about this character aside from the fact that he's a rich lawyer and he has a wife and 2 kids. And then of course with like Omari Hardwick being the leading man in this movie, like I've never really seen Omari Hardwick in that much. Like the only thing I really remember Omari Hardwick from is playing Janet Jackson's gay husband, the Tyler Perry movie for Color Girls. Like I know Omari Hardwick is mostly known for playing Ghost on Power, but I've never watched Power. I was never really interested in Power, so I've never really seen, I think Power was on for like 6 seasons or something like that, so I've never really seen his acting chops on Power. Maybe he's much better in Power than he was on this, but for the most part, he wasn't really that compelling as a leading man for this movie. Like for the most part, this movie is following him throughout the entire movie. Like at a certain point, you don't really see his family at all in this movie, and he's trying to find them. And so with this movie following him for most of the movie, he's not that interesting of an actor to want to follow for that much of the movie. Honestly, the best part of this movie was Loretta Devine's Eloise. She was honestly the thing that kept me from just turning this movie off. And then the whole time I was thinking that this movie was going to end up being a subversion of the trope because of the whole theme of you shouldn't judge people based on their upbringing and all this other stuff. But this movie ended up being exactly what you thought it was going to be. And that was very disappointing. So it left me wondering, what was the point of that narrative then? But ultimately, I would say I didn't hate this movie, but I don't know if I could recommend this movie either. So I would definitely say Sleep 2020 was a miss. I would say if it comes out on Netflix or Amazon Prime for free, then yeah, check it out. But if you gotta, but the fact that you have to pay for it, $9.99, I would say save your money, watch something else. I'm gonna end up watching His House. I heard that was much better. So yeah, but I will say, because I heard a lot of people saying that this movie was Misery meets Hoodoo, and I've never seen Misery. I know I'm gonna get up on that. I would say that's the one positive about this movie. It's gonna make me go and watch Misery. But the question is, have you guys seen Spell? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, again, if you can, and hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out the channel. And if this is one of your first time checking out out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.